Welcome to Conquer Your Finances, Conquer Your Life. I'm your host, Dawn Santoriello, and each and every week I'm here to empower you to live a happier, healthier, and wealthier lifestyle. Stay tuned for the end of the show because I'm going to give you some tips on what to do for some year-end planning, because now as the end of the year approaches, it's time to get ready to do your taxes, and there's still ways that you can get some tax deductions. So right now my guest is Jim Carlucci. So Jim, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
And you have over 15 years of experience. Your company is called Carlucci Consulting, and you're based out of Yardley, correct?
That is correct, although moving to Newtown shortly, but for the time being in good old Yardley.
Good old Yardley. Well, it's not that far removed,
No, it's
so that's
not.
good. So give us a little background, like
Sure.
how'd you get up to having your own consulting company?
Well, it started off when I was really young. When I was a little kid, my parents always encouraged me to play with my hands, use my hands to build Legos and come up with creative things that nobody else could.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was in high school, I quickly realized I was not exactly an exemplary student. So I was blessed to find technology as kind of an outlet, growing up. And from there I went to community college in Mercer County.
13th, 14th grade.
Yes,
I had to
13th
go
and
there
14th.
too.
That's right, that's right. And actually it was a great experience. Vocational school isn't for everybody, but I took a lot from it. And it taught me kind of the basics of, living a technology career. And from there, got a few different jobs and kind of morphed over the last, 20 years into what you see here.
Wow, that's amazing.
Here I am.
So you're like one of those geeks who just like stayed in your room and was like building computers and tearing them apart?
Yeah, more tearing them apart and not fixing them and getting frustrated and trying to figure out how to make them work again, which was a challenge when you don't know anything to make something work out of nothing. But it was fun.
Nice. So your mom used to love that, like everything all over the place?
Oh yeah, parts, pieces. Even my current wife affectionately calls our apartment the computer graveyard, or the she calls it the computer graveyard because they're just parts all over the place. Because I love tinkering.
Oh wow.
It is a lot of fun.
Nice. So now tell me more about your firm. What do you guys actually do?
Good question. So I'm a sole proprietor, and it's just me in the business. So I feel like I'm kind of the garbage man and the CEO. So I get to do a little bit of everything, which is great. I love people interactions. I love being with clients, whether they're, a Fortune 500 company or, grandma that doesn't know how to print. And I service all of them for the time being, at least. But some of the major things that we focus on are security and maintenance. We have a little saying, because my wife is very involved in the business, as you can imagine. But our saying is diagnose, repair, and maintain. So what we end up doing is the hardest part of any repair really comes down to diagnosis. Anybody can look up or Google what a problem is. The thing that differentiates me is I know what to Google, or I know what to look for just through experience. And maintaining somebody's computer systems or any type of business electronics is so important these days because everybody runs their life on it. Imagine if you don't have a computer or you don't have a phone. It's so detrimental to your business.
Yeah,
so,
you're like lost. Like
yeah.
I remember I called you, I think it was like, what was it, like 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
My computer died. I'm like, oh my God,
Yeah.
I can't turn it on. What do I do? And it was,
It was dead.
it was dead.
Yeah.
And you're like, then you helped me like, here, this is the kind of computer you want. Because there's just so many options out there. I'm like, I don't know, what's good? Tell me what to get.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point because a lot of people don't know what they need. And a big part of choosing a computer for your individual business or your personal needs is very important. You don't know what to look for. The layman person can go to Best Buy and say, oh, well, that one's $1,000. It must be nice. I might as well get that one. But it still may not fit your business if it doesn't have all the individual components laid out properly. So I love giving advice to people. It makes my life easy because I know they get what they need. And that's one of my pride points is getting somebody the proper machine.
Yeah.
So hopefully you're happy with yours.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely happy now because
Good.
before I met you, I only had the computer for 2 years and I bought the most expensive one. Because I thought, okay, the most expensive, this is the best one.
Right.
And 2 years it died. I've never had a computer die in 2 years.
Yeah, and that's fairly uncommon, but
Yeah.
at least we had each other.
Yeah, exactly. You got me. And then another thing you helped me too is with my phone. I was just going to go out to one of the main carriers and get another line, but you said there's something called virtual phones, which being technology clueless, I was like, what the hell is that?
Yeah, the new wave of office communication really has become having a virtual phone. So a VoIP is the term, and not everybody understands what that means. It's a voice over internet protocol, and what that essentially does, it takes your internet signal and makes it a digital voice system. So what you have essentially is no need for a hard line anymore. So in your office, you have just the desk phone, you have the mobile application on your cell phone.
And it rings to my computer.
And it rings through your computer.
I can talk to my computer. I'm like,
You
this
can
is
talk to your
so
computer.
cool.
That's right. I pride myself in making people either nerdy or cool, depending on how you look at it.
Nice. Yeah. So, okay, well, we got to take a break right now, so don't go anywhere. We'll be learning more with Jim. Welcome back to Conquer Your Finances, Conquer Your Life. I'm your host, Dawn Santoriello, and today my guest is Jim Carlucci. So, Jim, tell us what makes you different than all the other computer geeks out there. Sorry, no offense.
No offense taken. I am what I am.
You're a cool geek.
I am a cool. I pride myself on that, actually. I opened my company in 2013, and at the time, there are a lot of different. There's technology places everywhere. You can go to Best Buy or Walmart and bump into 10 of them. So I needed something that would differentiate me from the other one-man shops or even 10-man shops. So I did a lot of research as far as certifications, general training, just to kind of have that on a business card to make people say, oh, well, that other person doesn't have that. So I went out and I got certified by an organization called CompTIA. And what that is, it's a general certification, kind of in lieu of going out and getting certified by Microsoft or by Dell or Apple or any of them. So what this enables me to do on a 3-year basis, I have to do continuing education, as you can imagine. But what it does is it trained me on a very broad level how to handle all different types of problems, because if there's one thing I've learned in years of doing this, there are no two problems that are the same. You really have to be prepared to diagnose on the fly and be able to take a piece of knowledge from one place and use it in another scenario, and having this certification has certainly helped me prepare for that. Very much so.
So that's great. So anyone looking for a computer guy, make sure he's certified.
Right.
And
right.
Jim's your guy.
I am the guy. That's right.
So now, what industries do you work with? Who do you service?
So that's a good question. I've got a very broad client base, as you can imagine, being a small business. So, everything from home office worker, somebody that works virtually. I do a lot of work for insurance companies. Whether they're a nationwide provider or a State Farm providers. I have a lot of medical practices. One other big piece of having a good certification is I'm actually HIPAA certified. So I had years of training in compliance and data security and management, and that's a really big deal now, to be careful with your data, with all of the security breaches that are happening all over the world. And I know a lot of doctors' practices, even small and large, everything from a concierge cosmetics, Botox type facility to a plastic surgery center, which is my newest client, and boy, that couldn't be any different. And if they fall out of compliance, their office could be shut down.
Wow.
So you're talking millions of dollars lost. So it's a very important part of what I do is the training the staff on how to maintain their digital footprint, if you will.
And that's like cybersecurity, right?
Yeah, it's cybersecurity and a lot of document management. For example, another client base I service are accountants and financial advisors. So they have to maintain their records for a certain amount of time.
7 years.
7 years, yeah, for financial advisors. And I believe accounting is the same, and I think that doctors' practices are either 5 or 7 as well. So you have to be able to not only store documents, but you have to store them safely. And that's a big part of what's happening now with everything that's going on with viruses and hacks and people getting trolled on the internet. It's a scary time.
You hear there's a lot of scariness out there.
Yeah, there sure is.
And you got like personal security too. Do you do that as well too? Because I know sometimes I get stalkers on Facebook. And
I'm
it's like,
sure. Yeah, you know, a big part of it's funny you mentioned that. I did a training seminar at a real estate office in Newtown, and what they were most concerned about was their business Facebook pages versus their personal ones, and how to keep that information as separate as possible, because you have to be so careful what you post online because it never goes away. Ask any celebrity that's ever had a picture taken of them. You can always find it one way or another. And part of the training really involved, okay, what do you post where? And going into that, it's interesting to see people's reaction, like, oh man, I shouldn't have posted that. And it's pretty telling pretty quickly who runs out of the room to go delete their profile. And it's a funny scenario.
Yeah, try to keep all the bad stuff off and just,
Right, exactly. Don't click on anything, pretty much.
Exactly.
Right.
So now, like being in the business, I'm sure you've seen some crazy stuff. So what kind of stories can you share with us?
I have a few. So they range from the very mundane to the very complicated and very sad, actually. So I'll start with a happy ending.
Okay.
I was at a doctor's practice, and the I guess the office manager, her computer kept turning off. So she kept calling me saying, oh, my computer keeps turning off. I don't know why. It just shuts down. So I said, oh man, that's very strange. Why don't I come take a look and try and diagnose what's happening? And I'm looking on the floor, and I said, okay, where's the plug in? And I'm looking behind the wall. Turns out she was putting her purse on top of the surge protector. And every morning when she came in, sure enough, it would turn off the surge protector.
That's so funny. Oh my God. You can make this stuff up.
You cannot make that up. So she was not only embarrassed, but had a good laugh about it, and now moved the surge protector, or her purse, one of the two. So that was a pretty funny scenario, and everybody had a good kick out of that. And I think they made a nice shout out to me online about that. Just, no matter what the problem is, you can still count on me to figure
You're
that
like,
out.
superhero Jim to the rescue.
That's right.
Where's your
That's what I
cape
did.
today? Come on.
Kept keeps in the car along with the unitard.
Thanks for not wearing that.
You're welcome. I was told not to wear green. Another interesting story. So going back with security and with data management, I had the unfortunate dealings with a general contractor who are great clients for me because most of them are wholly operated by one person. They may have subcontractors or people they use in addition to their services. But this one gentleman had what he deemed to be his in-house server. Now, this was just a basic computer that he was running his business off of out of his house, which is very common. The problem he was having was he didn't like keeping extra things. And what I mean by that is, anytime he received a referral or sent an invoice via email, he would then delete it. He saved all of his contact information using that into a file system on his computer. So he didn't maintain any additional record keeping, nothing backed up, nothing off-site. His computer blew up. He had a power surge in his house, in Conshohocken, I believe, and lost everything.
Oh my God.
And had to shut down his business. Very sad story.
Wow. Oh, that is sad.
So what it goes to show you is be very careful about having a backup solution and having both on-site and off-site ways to maintain your data in the event of a natural disaster, because you don't think it'll happen to you, but ask anybody that's been through a hurricane, it happens.
Yeah, you would never think just that, because the whole business just shut down.
And
that's
literally
really
nothing
sad.
to do. Yeah,
Wow.
I felt terrible for him, but I had to eventually say, we gotta rebuild this.
Yeah, wow.
Nothing you can do.
So folks, backup stuff, don't just rely on one computer.
Right.
And don't go anywhere, because we'll be right back. Welcome back to Conquer Your Finances, Conquer Your Life. I'm your host, Dawn Santoriello, and just to jump off of what Jim just said about that guy losing his business, I want to give you some tips for year-end planning. So first off, you want to keep your documents, not like your guy, and just get rid of them.
Right. So
keep them in a folder, and get all your receipts together now, because tax time is going to come up pretty soon, and your accountant doesn't want to have shoe boxes to go through. So what I do for my accountant, and he loves me, is I make spreadsheets. I use QuickBooks and all that, so that helps out. So get everything together. And now too, business owners, if you're an S Corp, you're going to have to decide, get with your accountant, did I take enough salary this year? Because you don't want to show nothing as income, because then that can cause you some trouble. So ask your accountant. We have 2 more months left to say, did I take enough salary this year? Work on that. Also, get with a financial planner. There's so many things you could do as a business owner to get tax deductions. And there's stuff that you don't even know called leverage planning, which I specialize in. So I can get you the big, huge tax deductions now, each and every year. Have someone else pay for your retirement, and you could be set up for that. Also, get your mileage logs ready now, because I know that takes a while. I use an app called Mileage IQ, so that works. Good, see? It helps business owners. Any other tips you have, like what else we could do?
Well, well, first of all, that app is terrific. We'll give them a free shout out on the show, I guess. But I just started using it also. It's perfect for business travel and personal travel.
Yeah, because you know what I did? I was sitting there coming, I'm like, shoot, I had a couple months, I have to go back to Google. I do minimum map quest. How many miles was this? It was like a nightmare.
It's awful.
So that's a good time saver, folks. So get that. So just, get everything in order, because the year is going to come by quick. And once we get to January 1st, you can't really go backwards and really make any financial decisions. So get prepared now. Talk to somebody who's qualified and go from there. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So now, do you have another interesting, funny story? I love these stories. Let's
have
have a fun one, not a sad one.
I'll give you one that has a happy ending but a sad beginning.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So because, this particular client of mine was a contracting firm, I believe. They do really high-end deck building, repairs on homes, things like that. So very, very big construction company. They had an employee that was found out after being in charge of their bookkeeping and in charge of their record keeping. Turns out he was stealing from them.
Wow.
And he was, the only one with the company credit card on file. He was the one that would order supplies and parts for the jobs that were up and coming. And it turns out he had been stealing from them for years.
Wow. Oh my God.
And in very small increments, but it added up to quite a sum of money. But because we had a nice system in place of backing up information and keeping things in order and having audits regularly about their systems and about their bookkeeping, I went in there with their accountant, their on-site accountant, and audited everything. We found out about this fraud. They were able to, with the help of a very good business attorney who I'm very close with, recoup all of that money and fire the employee, and then we'll see what happens from there.
Nice.
But it shows you the importance of keeping good records and having the right IT department, and in conjunction with all of your other professional services. It's very important to keep track of things and to be as safe and prepared as possible for whatever may come. This,
that's probably unexpected. Like, who would expect
Exactly.
that your employee's going to do that for you, especially working so long? So
Exactly.
good that you were able to help that.
Yeah, and you figure this guy would go over to Thanksgiving dinner with the owners of the
way.
business, so you never know.
Oh my gosh.
So be prepared and be careful with all of your own information, and I think that's a valuable lesson.
Yeah.
And have the right IT department there to back you up just in case something does happen, whether that's me or whether that you have your own person that you trust. Trust is very important, and make sure you have it.
Wow. So is there anything we could do, like say they just at-home consumer? What could they do to help back up their data?
Well, from an inexpensive standpoint, if you're a home user, there are many different backup services. There are two that I use frequently. Carbonite being a big company, everybody's heard of them. There's also a newer one that I like because it's a bit smaller of a footprint on your computer. It's called Crash Plan, and I implement that pretty much across the board with a lot of my clients. What it does is it runs in the background on your computer, and it just continuously backs up everything as you make changes. Don't even know it's there. And that way, in the event of a natural disaster or your hard drive fails, which happens a lot, all your data is accessible from anywhere. You could go to the library, assuming there are still libraries around, and you could pull out all of your data just sitting on a desktop computer, and business runs as normal.
How about those little, what are those little?
Oh, external hard drives.
Yes, how about those?
So those are very good also. So I always try and implement a two-stage approach to that. So you have the external hard drive at your home office or at your physical office. And that's a great source for a local backup in case your hard drive does die or your server has an error. And using that with an offsite backup, you virtually lose only the time it takes you to get in your car and go somewhere else. So those are two very inexpensive and easy ways to protect yourself against what otherwise could be very detrimental to your business.
Yeah, or even your home.
Or even your home, everything.
Yeah, it's like, what if you have all like your doctor's information or something, all your your bank stuff, like all your
pictures of your kids, everything, videos of your kids while they're growing up. The same guy that lost his business used that same computer for all of his.
Oh my God. His
So-
whole life was like basically erased.
It was pretty much erased.
Wow.
So be prepared and be safe.
Yeah, oh my
And
goodness.
call me if you need help with that, please.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you did a great job for me. So
Thank
I
you.
would highly recommend you.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, so I have a phone now that works. That's great. My computer, it works. It's backed up. Like
That's right.
everything is running smoothly.
Terrific.
So, yeah. Anything else you want to share about your company? Or?
No, well, I think what's going on now is a lot of people are just really nervous about doing just about anything because of data breaches, Equifax, things like that. So the best advice I can give to people is if something is in your mind fishy or doesn't look right, ignore it. Don't click on it. It could potentially be a virus, but you know the people that reach out to you more often than not. You know business contacts, you know friends. If something doesn't look right, it's probably not.
Yeah, like I've been getting a lot of stuff, like Dropbox stuff,
Mhm.
and then yesterday I got something like from Microsoft saying we have to do something else. I'm like, this is a scam. So I'm like,
Probably.
it didn't look official. I'm like,
Yeah.
they're not going to send me an email, have me click on a button.
Right,
So
exactly.
I just like delete.
And just like the IRS, Microsoft will never call you. So if they ever call you,
Mhm.
it's not real.
It's not real.
It's not
Exactly.
real. Because where do they get your phone number from?
Mhm. I don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that happens a lot. There's a lot of scammers out there. So
Mhm.
I preach patience and just keeping your eyes open for things. And I
Mhm.
think if people do that a bit more and with a bit better training, I think that a lot of the danger can be circumvented.
Okay, great. Well, now where can people find you? Do you have a website, a phone number?
I do. So I'm based out of Yardley, Pennsylvania, as we mentioned before, currently, moving next month, but right down the street. The website is carlucciconsulting.com. Phone number to reach me is 215-962-2788. I'm happy to help anybody, field any calls. If you have any general questions, please feel free to reach out. I'm always a good source for advice, and I love telling people my opinion. So no problem there.
And if you need to get cheered up, you need a good laugh, you call Jim.
That's right. That's right. Or if you want to be really sad, you can call me too, because
Yeah.
I have those also.
So, well, thank you so much for being a guest. It was a pleasure having you here.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. So tune in next week where we will continue to empower you to live a happier, healthier, and wealthier lifestyle. Have a great day.